What is going on, you beauties? We are here with a reaction a few days late of Forbidden Door, which I attended personally. I am joined by the Alpha Wolf, Sean, the Bearded Wonder, Cam, and the man behind the scenes that makes this train roll, Scalz. What is going on, guys?
What up?
What up?
Good.
Definitely a little late to the party here with doing a review a few days afterwards, but after catching Forbidden Door and now Dynamite, we have an idea of where this train is going with AEW. So what was your guys' overall thoughts of Forbidden Door? Let's go Scalz first.
I'm hearing an echo, so I don't know if one of you guys has the stream up. But Forbidden Door, to me, was a great show from top to bottom. Obviously, there was some downfalls in it, but overall, I felt it was a good show.
All right. Cam?
I thought it was great. Me personally, I thought it was easily the pay-per-view of the year.
Fair.
You know?
Sean?
I have to agree with Cam. It was fucking amazing. Easily pay-per-view of the year so far. We'll see how Money in the Bank does this weekend. But yeah, I think it's great.
I mean, shit. I was there, and honestly, the crowd was there in it. Everybody was in it. Like the atmosphere there, like nothing I've been to. Like y'all said, top to bottom, it was a fantastic card. The pace was excellent. Some moments, but we'll get into that as we talk about it. So I don't remember the card order. I know that MJF started the show. So give us your review on the MJF match, Sean.
To be honest, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't like the best. For MJF, he gave us actually a somewhat decent match. I mean, MJF is a decent wrestler, but I thought like with someone like Hiroshi Tanahashi, it's just not what I was expecting, to be honest.
All right, what do you give that in terms of stars? We'll give it out 5. We'll go 5 stars as the max.
I'll give it a 3.5.
All right. Bearded Wonder, how about you, my man? We
Um,
know you're playing the
so
new AEW game.
yes, I am. I'm actually currently trying to look up the card as well, so we can kind of go in some kind of an order. But the MJF Tanahashi match. So me not being too familiar with a whole lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling, this was kind of my first. Well, I guess second technically because I saw Tanahashi wrestle before when he wrestled Swerve. So technically, like my second full match that I've seen of Tanahashi's or whatever. So I think they kind of knew what kind of match quality-wise it was going to be. That's why it was on first. I still think it was good. It was probably one of the weaker cards of the night, but I think it was a good match still. MJF is great. Obviously, I think he's great in the ring. I think he gets better and better each time he's in the ring. His selling is great. You know, he's always adding, stuff into the match to make it even more entertaining. So he put on the best possible match he could with Tanahashi. So I thought it was good for what it was. Rating wise, I'll give it a 2.7 out of 5. 2.7 out of 5.
All right. Scalz, I know you don't like MJF as it is, but let's hear your thoughts on this match.
I mean, it all started with the MJF saying, I really don't want to be there anyway, so we're going to go on first. I kind of like that, the way that he sold it, that they're starting the show with them instead of being the main event. So I like that little wrinkle to it. I don't know. I feel like that wasn't a great matchup for him. He should have been against one of the younger people from Japan and trying to make a better, like a faster pace match. It didn't seem to mesh well for me. So I'm only going to give that a 2.5 star.
I think not to cut you off, Scalz. But I think he should have fought Naito. I think Naito would have had a better match.
That probably would have made better sense considering he was wasted in that 6-man tag match.
So.
But we'll get to that after.
Well, for me, it was kind of awesome to see the Devil, in person and come out and get to sing better than you, which was fun as fuck. To me, like you guys said, like there's so many better opponents he could have faced in that match. Technical wrestling wise, I thought it was okay. There's no story really there to be told, other than just a challenge that Japan wrestling is indie scene biggest thing. For me, I got to give it a 2.5 out of 5. Honestly.
What was the next match for the night?
God damn it! I want to say Jungle Boy, but I don't think I'm right.
I don't think you are, sir.
No.
All right, let me get the match card up.
Yeah, sorry guys, technical difficulty. I can't remember the pace of this card.
So next was the CM Punk versus Kojima match.
Right. So we'll start this off with Cam because he's CM Punk's biggest dick rider. I mean, fan. So by all means, sir, tell us.
So once again, I think CM Punk is great. And the thing about it, I say the same thing for like Roman Reigns haters or whatever, because I'm a Roman Reigns fan as well. It's like, you can love him or you can hate him, but you can't deny that when he comes out, like when his music hits, or even during the course of his match, he's got everybody doing something. They're either booing him, they're either cheering him, they're chanting CM Punk. That what I'm saying, like they're involved in the match. And I said this before, but I would prefer that. I would prefer the audience to actually be into what he's doing, whether they like him or don't, or whether they like him or they do like him or whatever, versus a crowd that's just sitting on their pockets.
Right.
So not a single person, from what I could see, anyways. I don't know. You had a different experience from me, Shadow, but from what I could see, nobody was sitting down during that match. Like everybody, they all were doing something during the course of that match. So I thought it was a great match. There was something that he did a callback to as well. So one of his old interviews he did with Samoa Joe. So he had Kojima in the corner, and he's clotheslining him, and he's going, Kojima. I thought that was hilarious because he actually did an interview years ago, and he was doing that. So that was a callback to one of his old one of his old interviews or whatever. So I thought that was hilarious. So yeah, the match was fun. The match was great. Again, CM Punk is probably my pick to win the whole tournament or whatever. But it was a good match for what it was. Like I said, this CM Punk is much different from the CM Punk we saw come back originally to AEW because he's in better ring shape, I believe. So he's trained a little bit more. You know what I'm saying? So he's in better shape.
Right.
Either way, though, like I thought it was a good match. So rating wise, I'll give this match a 3.9 out of 5. 3.9 out of 5.
Okay, I'll go next. Again, I do like Punk. I always have, but at the same time, right now I'm annoyed with his antics. And I mean, that's what we want, right, as wrestling fans. It was fun as fuck to chant "fuck you, Punk." It was also fun to boo the shit out of that man to come out to. Like, I just had an all around. That was one of the most crowd feeding matches of the night. One of, because I think it was Stone Cold that said it. Whether you're getting a negative reaction or a positive reaction, as long as you're getting a reaction. And clinically, in wrestling terms, that match could have been so much better. It was good, but it could have been so much better wrestling-wise. Punk playing to the crowd, it was great. I enjoyed booing him, like I said, and I'm going to keep saying it. I would be lying if I didn't tell you guys that I did sing along to Cult of Personality while booing because you just have to sing it. You just have to.
How many opportunities do you get to?
You don't, unless you're playing it on your car stereo or something. You're not singing it live where the wrestler's coming out. For me, and this might surprise Cam, but I'm gonna give that match a 3.9.
Wow.
So we're headed over to Mr. Scalz next.
So I felt the match was okay. I know it's CM Punk's, his second match back. So he is still working out the kinks. He's still trying to get back into ring shape because you can only do so much training. And you could see it at certain points, but he just got better as the match went along. And I felt it was right at that point where it wasn't too short, wasn't too long, to where he got tired. So I'm okay with his match. His go to sleep did feel a little flat, and it did feel like the ending wasn't the proper ending. So I'm curious as to why it happened the way that it did. But overall, I'm going to give the match a 3.25.
Sean?
Oh boy, I gotta be the bad guy here, huh? I felt that match was pretty bad, to be honest, from my opinion, because like you have CM Punk and you have a Japanese legend in Kojima, right? I expected a lot more hard hitting, like strong style type chops and kicks and just everything that Kojima's used to, and just him being the Japanese legend that he is. But it just seemed flat from CM Punk's side, and Kojima was obviously a little flat too. So I get it. I get what Scalz was saying, that CM Punk is still trying to get back into ring shape and get back on his feet. But for me, it I couldn't keep attention for through the match, for parts of the match, because I was bored. So I have to give it like a 2.
All right.
And prerogative, man. I get it.
So the next match that we'll discuss would be the 4-way match for the AEW International Championship.
Oh, please let me start this one because honestly, y'all are gonna hate me. I love what Daniel Garcia is doing. I think he's great, but that match was nothing more than a comedic match at best, and I really did not enjoy it. I thought it was okay, but it was nothing but comedy, and I think that really ruined the mood for me a little bit on that match. Great spots, but that's all it was. It was spots and comedy, and it just wasn't. I don't know. It didn't fit. It felt like more of a Dynamite match, in my opinion, than a pay-per-view match. So for me, I'm going to give it a 2. Sean, go ahead.
To be honest, I agree with you, Shadow. It had some good moments, but not good enough. But I'll give it a 2.5.
Scalz?
I'm still on the mindset that Orange Cassidy should have lost this belt a while ago. I understand what he's doing right now, and I understand the so-called gimmick he's playing. He's the workhorse of AEW, and that's great, but he's not that type of wrestler. He is the wrestler that pairs up with the great stars, and he's the comedic act for it.
Like that.
I know he's a great wrestler, and he can definitely go in the ring, but he's more known for those comedic spots with the little kicks, the hands in the pockets, doing all these different things, because that's the fans eat it up. So I feel he should have lost this match. He should have lost the match in the Rumble, in the Battle Royal that he had, and I felt this was the opportunity to get the belt off of him again without him taking the pin. And they passed on both of those opportunities. So overall, I'm going to give this match a 2.5.
Cam looks like he's got some opinions to yell at us about. So Cam, let's hear it.
So I'm shocked at what I've heard so far, but I disagree with all of you. and I thought this was a fantastic fatal four-way match. Yeah, it had some comedic spots in it, but I thought that just kind of added to the match. Overall, I thought we saw some great wrestling. Now, I do agree with what Scalz said. I thought that maybe it was time for Cassidy to drop the title. But after he won, I was really thinking about it. I was really, really contemplating about it and really contemplating what Orange Cassidy had been through so far. And I think because he is the workhorse that he is for AEW right now, I think that is why they should continue as him being champion, because he has proven that he's not just the comedic act. Like him and Danhausen are completely different, because Danhausen is 95% comedy and 5% in-ring ability. Like it's not equal. With Orange Cassidy, he started out as just the comedic act, but then when he got in the ring, people were like, "Whoa! Like this dude can actually wrestle." So I feel like he's more serious. He's more of a serious wrestler than he is a comedy act. If that makes any sense. Yeah, the hands in the pockets. Yeah, the kicks thing. Yeah, that's just to get the crowd into the match. You know what I'm saying? Like into what he's doing. That's how he does his his babyface crowd pleasing, playing into the crowd thing. That's his shtick. So, but I don't think that means he's just a comedy act. So for me, and if you think about it, we're in the era of long title reigns, and that's not a bad thing, because meaningful long title reigns, it just adds prestige to the whatever title that's that person's holding. The only time a long title reign is bad is when you have someone who holds a title and then is just never seen. They're just in catering. You know what I mean? Like when they had Shinsuke and he was Intercontinental Champion, he was just never on television. That's bad, because he's a champion. He's supposed to be defending the title on TV. So I think they should continue it, because whoever beats Cassidy for the title is going to be put over like pretty well. So I'm giving this match a 4.3 out of 5. I thought it was a great match.
Hey, very valid opinions. I appreciate that. You're wrong, but I appreciate.
Tomato.
Yeah, you're wrong. It's fine. We all get wrong once a day.
Broken clock's right twice a day. It's okay.
What about broken cock? What?
No one said that. You did.
My bad. Continue.
So the next match we have is Sonata versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
So, Scalz, you start this one off.
So I thought this match was a decent match. It gave Jungle Boy some exposure, so to speak, because now he's fought for 2 championships in a row. He did lose versus MJF. He did lose this one. And it set up perfectly what happened after the match. So I thought that this match was okay. I did enjoy Jungle Boy getting in some of his moves, making you try to believe that he actually might win. So this one I'm going to give a 3-star.
All right. Sean? Technical difficulties. Cam?
So I thought this match was okay for what it was. I think this was Jungle Boy's kind of moment to really prove he's a much better wrestler than what a lot of people probably think he is. I feel like the finish of the match though was just kind of flat, because Sonata kind of just hit his finisher move so quickly, and there was like no impact to it, like they're supposed to be, especially with like a move such as like a moonsault off the top rope. So he just kind of hit it and just like 1, 2, 3, like, yep, I got things to do, I gotta go. Like it just was kind of flat. So obviously the highlight of this match easily was Jungle Boy turning on Hook after the match. Other than that, I think this match was kind of forgettable. Like it really wasn't all that. So I'm gonna give this match probably a 2.7 out of 5. It was okay.
Okay. All right, Sean, now that you're back from technical difficulties,
Yeah, sorry about that. I think I'm gonna have to agree with Cam. It kind of like it felt like a throwaway match. But I'm gonna give it a 3 stars just for the fact alone that we got that Jungle Boy unexpected heel turn at the end. And other than that, what Cam said was right. It was kind of a forgettable match.
you gave a rating, right?
Yeah, 3.
Yeah. Okay. So, if my man over here will be so kind,
On it.
before I speak to the masses, if you will. But y'all see, I got to meet Jungle Boy on Sunday, and just after this picture was taken, I whispered, "Do it for Daddy Shadow," and told him to make that heel turn. You know. So this is the last known fan Jungle Boy picture that I'm aware of before he headed into the building. So this is the last picture of him as a face with a fan. Because he took mine and then he went inside. Not saying I had anything to do with the heel, but I'm just being a dick. I didn't really. This match to me was more of a, well, they both need an opponent. Well, the New Japan guy needed an opponent, and Jungle Boy's like, I'm just gonna take it. Because the reality is, the major impact happened after the match with him saying, "Fuck you guys, I'm done being your lackey," and clotheslining the shit out of Hook, which was great. We needed a Jungle Boy turn, and won't be surprised if we see down the road where Christian and Luchasaurus are somehow behind it. For me, the match.
I hope not. Hello? Shadow? Where'd he go?
Shadow.
No idea where he went.
Shadow.
The Ghost of Jungle Boy's baby face run came for Shadow.
His heel turn muted Shadow. All right. I don't know what's going on. Let's see if I can get in touch with him. But was there anything else we want to discuss about this match?
No.
All right. As he leaves, so he obviously realized something happened. So overall, I mean, the heel turn was done perfectly. And I don't know if Hook was selling it or if he legit got hurt, because the way that Taz ran into the back afterwards made me believe that Hook actually did get hurt. So I'm curious. Shadow, you back? No.
No. I think that's a no.
What were we gonna say, Cam?
But no, I don't think Hook got hurt. I think he was just selling it, and I think Taz leaving from commentary, I think just sold it even more that Taz was just like pissed, that Jungle Boy turned on Hook or whatever. So I thought it was great. I thought it was a good. I thought it was great how they included Taz into the storyline as well. So yeah, I think it's just good storytelling on both ends.
I don't know why we can't hear Shadow. All right. So we'll come back to Shadow if we can figure this out. And this is kind of disappointing because Shadow was the one that was actually there and can give us insights on what happened.
I'm here now. What's up?
Okay. No, we couldn't hear, and we don't know if you were talking. What happened? We couldn't hear anything from you.
What's the last thing you guys heard me say?
I don't know.
Did you hear anything I said about the Jungle Boy match?
Yeah, we heard what you said about the Jungle Boy match. We didn't catch what you said after.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's gone again.
telling you that just Jungle Boy is cursed.
Wow.
He's muted right now. I think he did that on his own. I don't know what's going on.
I think
All right.
Shadow secretly signed an NDA.
Yeah.
Something.
You muted yourself, Shadow. So
Yeah,
okay.
I know I muted myself. My connection.
Okay. All right, so we'll move on to the next match, which was the 10-man tag match that featured the Elite, which was Hangman Adam Page, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson, along with Eddie Kingston and Tomohiro Ishii against the Blackpool Combat Club with Takeshita and Shoto Umino. Try saying those 3 times fast.
No thanks.
Cam, you want to start this one?
Yeah, I'll start. So I'm not really a huge fan of the Elite. Obviously, I like Kenny Omega. He's probably the only one that I'm really fond of. Hangman Page, he's cool too, I guess sometimes. But anyways, I thought this was a pretty good match for what it was. I'm honestly shocked that this wasn't like the main event or something like that, since the Elite like put themselves in the main event. Not anything too noteworthy from what I can remember. It's kind of like their last 5 multi-man matches that the Elite love doing. But it was good for what it was. So I'm gonna give this a 3 out of 5.
Huh. That match for me. Y'all can hear me now, I assume.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That match for me, I love to sing along to certain entrances, and getting to sing Kansas was fun. I was, however, slightly irritated that I couldn't sing Wild Thing because Jon Moxley decided he would throw it back to his New Japan stuff and come out to his New Japan theme, which annoyed me, but it is what it is. I was pissed not to hear Wild Thing. Legitimately pissed. The match had a good few spots in it. You know, nothing, but that's a normal Young Bucks match. There's always spots. It was a great back and forth. The chop off between Moxley and fucking Kingston was fucking annoying because it just went on and on and on and on and on. And I was like, oh my god. But anyways, another thing that irritated me was that every time someone got chopped, everybody went, woo! I'm sorry, that just annoys me. Don't be doing that. Actually, I'm not sorry. Go fuck yourself. Yeah, but other than that, like, the spots were good for what they were. The match was semi decent. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 3.4.
Sean?
You see, I'm the biggest Elite mark. I know. The match, in my opinion, was pretty good. I did like the chop off. I'm slightly disappointed that, and actually shocked that Moxley didn't bleed in this match.
Yes,
Um,
it wasn't a Moxley
That's-
match. There was no blood.
He saved it all for last night.
yeah, he saved it all for Dynamite for whatever fucking reason. But
I mean, along with like 10 other people last night.
I think they used their blood budget for a later match we're going to discuss. But for me, I'll give it a 4. I'll give it a 4 out of 5.
Fucking Mark.
So
Call me Meltzer, okay? So
no.
No, I got a whole other rant about that man. Anyway.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, the match was okay. I had a feeling that the Elite were going to win this match just based off of the history between the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite and how it was going to be setting up the Blood and Guts match, which is coming up in July, I think it is.
July 19th, live from TD Garden in Boston.
Boston.
So overall, I mean, I don't know. I don't like Eddie Kingston. I don't like him as a wrestler. I just don't like his character the way he is. Ishii is
You grew
not.
up in New York.
No, it has nothing to do with New York. I just think like I don't know. I'm trying to think of who you remind me of as an older wrestler that I like. It almost kind of reminds me of like the Sandman from ECW, and like the whole thing with him was he had the kendo stick and he drank beer. That was it. Eddie Kingston looks like he drank a keg, and it's like it just doesn't. It's not my cup of tea, and I don't even know who Umino is. I like Takeshita, but it's
Takeshita.
yeah,
Take a shitter.
as some people call him on TV. Overall, for me, the match was probably about a 3.25. There was a spot fest in certain parts. Other things just I don't know. It might be there was a lot of Japanese strong style in the match at certain points, and that just might have put me off a little bit.
For sure. I get it.
Let's move on to the AEW Women's Championship match, which was Toni Storm versus Willow Nightingale.
Fun fact for you. I did not watch this match. I was in the bathroom, legitimately. Like half the arena was.
You should have saved the bathroom break for a later match.
Nah,
this one actually was pretty decent.
So
Was.
I don't know. So I have no rating on this because again I didn't watch it. So inside the arena, I don't know if it actually showed up on TV, but a good chunk, and I mean a good chunk of people got up and went to the washroom and grabbed snacks and shit during that match.
It didn't show on TV because they did have the lights down on the fans a lot throughout the night. But I did see other people posting that were there that said the exact same thing that you did.
Yeah, it was literally a bathroom break.
When everybody decided to take their bathroom break, which is unfortunate because Toni Storm has proven that she is one of the better female wrestlers in AEW. She has gotten better every week that she's been out there. I'm just tired of what do they even call themselves? The Outcasts?
The Outcasts.
I'm just tired of them being involved in every single thing that she does.
They might as well call themselves the OCWO.
Because it's hard to have Willow lose after she just beat Mercedes for the New Japan Strong Women's Championship. Like, I know she only won because Mercedes got injured, but still, there are so many matches that could have changed if AEW just let New Japan win some matches. But what the thing is Willow's even an AEW superstar. Like, she's been there for how long now? She wrestles there almost every week. So overall, I thought this match was probably one of the better matches so far, in my opinion. I'm going to give this one a 3.75.
Cam.
So I thought that this match was going to be piss break material. Honestly, I did. But it was honestly better than I thought it was going to be. I'm not crazy about Willow Nightingale. I don't know much about her character. I don't know what her character is supposed to be. But she's decent in the ring. She's decent enough that she can turn a match that going into it I didn't really care much about into an entertaining match. So I thought this was a great match. And I agree with what Scalz said about Toni Storm. This is something I already knew already because I've been a fan of Toni Storm's for a while now. I just don't think she was respected enough by the fans. I get it. Maybe her character just wasn't really connecting the same as it was in WWE. So I understand it, but I've always respected what she does in the ring because I've always thought she was an amazing talent. So she's killing it right now as a heel. I think she's a far better heel now than she was when she was a babyface. But she's killing it right now.
I just want to say one thing, Cam. I think a lot of people were upset with her for the way she left WWE. And I think it's taking people this amount of time to get over it. That's what I think is happening with where you're saying people like didn't respect her. It's because they didn't respect her for what she did.
That could be true, but I've always respected what she does in the ring. I've always been a fan of Tony Storm, so it's just great to see that she has finally found something in AEW that sticks. So I think I'm agree with Scalz. I think this match was probably a 3.75.
Fair, Sean.
I agree. I thought the match wasn't going to be good. I know Tony's always going to be good, but Willow hasn't really impressed me much, to be honest. I mean, I like her as a character, but to be honest, like she's mostly been used as, here's a match before a commercial break or whatever, and then, but she actually put up a really good fight with Tony Storm, an amazing fucking match. So to me, she kind of like won me over a little bit there, and had to give that match, like what you guys said, a 3.75.
All right. We are going to skip the next match that happened in order. We're going to save that for later. So let's move over to what I think was the worst match of the night, the 6-man trios match with Sting, Darby, and Naito versus the Suzuki Gods, Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Minoru Suzuki. Sean, based off of your facial expression, do you want to start this?
The match kind of just ended. It didn't really feel like it was satisfying, you know what I mean? Especially with you have fucking Chris Jericho in the match, you have Suzuki in the match, and of all fucking people, you have Sting and Naito. All these freaking legends in their own right, and you just kind of make it like fall flat, you know what I mean? And then the fact that we didn't get like Sammy Guevara actually saying "fuck you, Jericho," turning babyface, you know what I mean? Although the match itself had good and bad, I'll just give it a. I'll have to give it a 3. I'll give it a 3.
Huh. Okay. The most entertaining part of that match for me was singing Judas. I've been waiting forever to do that. That was fun. There was a couple of fun spots with and scary, I should say, as well. The one part of the match where Sammy laid down, Jericho put his arm on him, did the little with his chin up with the fist, and then like the other guy,
Suzuki did as well. That was a great
spot.
spot.
that was a cool moment for a second there. The scariest part, seeing live, I still have to go back and watch it on TV. I'm just not trying to pay $50 to watch it. Is that Sting table spot?
Yeah, Sting's a fucking crazy man. I just want to end it.
It pisses me off because as much as I know Sting wants to be relevant still and do this and that, it is very much time to hang it up. But at the same time, if you're going to commit to a spot like that, commit to the fucking spot. Don't try to move last second and then...
Yeah, because he could have put... what was that, Guevara that jumped?
Yeah, Sammy could have been in a lot of worse position if Sting fully moved.
Because Sammy wasn't ready for him to move.
I highly believe that was a botch moment. And you guys know I don't like using that word, but I truly believe that was a botch. For me, that match, again, kind of like the Orange Cassidy, Timothy comic things, like Sting in the corner and Jericho doing the Stinger Splash with the little stupid mocking of it and everything. And but for me, I'm giving that match a 2.5. Just 2.5 is generous, just because of the studded talent in that.
And I'm going to continue off of that for Shadow. It's so funny because, like, they're trying to make it like Sting and Jericho have this such rich history against each other. And they really don't. Like, they didn't face each other until AEW. Jericho came into WCW, but he wasn't there long. He went back to WWE. and him and Sting never crossed paths because then Sting went to TNA Impact. So it's like to see the difference and the way they're trying to do this, it doesn't work. Sting needs to find a wrestler that's going to be the one to pin him and give him his only loss in AEW to give that person the recognition on his way out. And I really hope it's Darby Allin, and I hope it happens at All In. This match, to me, was a 1-star match. I did not enjoy it at all.
Bearded man.
So I think Naito and Suzuki, I think they carried this match. I think they had some of the best moments in the match. The match to me wasn't necessarily awful. I've seen worse, trust me. But I believe it was the way I agree with Sean. Like the way it ended was very flat, if I can use that word. Like it just the match kind of felt like a commercial break kind of thing. Like, oh, here's a word from our sponsors. Like that's what it kind of felt like. Because it just ended and there was really no build up to the ending. So yeah, that's the one thing I think that kind of bothered me about the match. Other than that, the match was it kind of was here 1 minute, then it was gone the next. If you just blink, that's how quickly it kind of felt like it went through. I agree with Shadow. The Sting table spot. I didn't now what Shadow had said about Sting trying to move that I didn't know. I didn't even really know. I didn't really notice that. I didn't pay much attention to that. But yeah, that would have been really, really bad. First off, not even just what Sting is doing with all these, crazy spots that he's doing at his age, but just what Sammy's doing with these, doing these 4 flips off of ladders and like even that scares me because it's just anything can go wrong. He can slip, he can miss the table completely. I don't like those kind of spots because anything can go wrong. I've seen spots like that go horribly wrong for some other unfortunate wrestlers. So yeah, but just so it's like I'm thanking every single day that he's still able to walk and he's okay for the most part. So spots like that just always kind of scare me. But overall, I'm giving this match probably a 3 out of 5.
And I agree with Pam. I just want to add on because it's scary because he's also going to be a new father, and you're like you want him to be able to,
right?
Play with his kid and take care of Ty and shit too. So
if he keeps doing what he's doing right now,
I don't want to see a career-ending injury before my very eyes. I don't like seeing it.
Or without being disrespectful, Jeff Hardy, where somebody gets addicted to shit they shouldn't be to deal with the pain.
Right.
But I believe that leads us.
We have two matches left.
I'm aware.
Okay.
I believe that leads us into a match that should have been a lot better. I'm saying it like this, and you'll understand. Should have been a lot better than we got. Well, it was already great, but it should have been better. But Daniel got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's unfortunate because we had talked about it a little bit previously too, and some of us have even talked to. It was hype. Hearing Final Countdown and singing that, hype. Having that coin drop live in the arena, bro, I'll tell you, every hair, even my balls stood for that one when that coin dropped, all right?
Jesus Christ.
If you ever get a chance to experience Okada live, do it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't care. I don't care. Do it.
I've been lucky enough to see him like 3 or 4 times live.
That man is worth the price of admission alone. That match to me, great technical, great spots, perfect time spots, even with the slowing down of the pace after Daniel broke. After he broke his forearm. For me, I'm giving that a 4.7.
All right, I'll go next. The match started out great. They had good back and forth. Unfortunately, Daniel Bryan did break his arm in the match and did change the outcome of it. And after finding that out during the next day, because I actually didn't stay up for the presser because they took like an hour to start. So I couldn't stay up because I had to be at work the next morning. When I found out the next day that Bryan broke his arm, and then I understood why the match was the way that it was, because I was expecting a lot more. And I think the crowd in attendance was as well, because coming off on TV, it felt like the crowd was just spent, done, and was like just not into it. Watching Okada for the first time, because I have not watched New Japan a lot, that man is special. And I am glad that I was able to watch this pay-per-view. If you've watched our channel for some time, you know I'm not always the biggest AEW and New Japan fan. Like, I am 100% WWE, and then there's everything else. But between this match and the one we're going to talk about afterwards, changed my outlook on a lot of things. So I'm going to give this match a 4.25. Would have been higher if the injury did not happen, because we probably would have got to see a lot more action. And it was a pretty sick way for Daniel Bryan to win with that LeBell lock.
Right. I will say before the other two go, nobody in attendance expected to tap out. Because everybody was like, what?
I'm sorry. I understand that probably was the plan for the happen. But when Bryan breaks his arm, you need to learn to call an audible. And that's the one of my biggest gripes with Tony Khan, is he doesn't know how to change on the fly. His mind is set and nothing changes. Okada should have won that match, in my opinion. But that's also because, in my mindset, Forbidden Door is an AEW pay-per-view, and nobody wins on a New Japan Pro side unless they are defending a title or trying to win their title back.
Cam, your thoughts, sir?
I thought this was the second best match of the night. Obviously, we are going to get into what we all probably thought was the match of the night. So this was the second best match of the night, in my opinion. Again, I'm with Scalz. It's me not knowing a whole lot about New Japan Pro Wrestling. This was the first full-length match I've got to see with Okada. I don't, and this is not, against Okada or anything like that. I want to see more of him because I don't know if I'm sold entirely yet. He's obviously got star power. Clearly, the dude's a megastar. Obviously, that's written all over him. But I want to see more of him. That's just it. I want to see what else he can do against other opponents and things like that. And then maybe I will be 100% sold. But this was a great match. Again, great back and forth. Did not know Danielson broke his forearm until after the fact or whatever. I saw him in the press conference in a cast, but I just figured, I don't know what I thought, but I didn't think it was that serious. So for him to win that match with a broken forearm is pretty impressive. Now, I disagree with Scalz when he said that he thinks Okada should have won the match. I believe Danielson should have won the match. I said this on the prediction show. This was Danielson's match to win, regardless of it being a New Japan Pro Wrestling and AEW crossover. I think this was his match to win because Danielson has been put in so many big marquee matches in AEW thus far and hasn't really won a lot of them. So I think they needed to give him something. And what better way? You have two technical wrestling gods from AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. So this was the best that they could put on, especially after, again, Danielson broke his forearm. That submission was absolutely brutal. Did not see a tap out coming, but I think that's what made that match that much more entertaining because you just didn't expect Okada to lose like that. So I'm giving this match a 4.8 out of 5.
So before Sean goes, I understand you said that Daniel Bryan should win the match, but what is he gaining from it now that he's out of action? That's what I'm saying. At that point, when they knew he was injured, they should have changed the finish to make it look like, oh, Okada only beat me because I was injured, and build to that rematch. And they could have used that to build it back up.
So here's what
here's
what I'll counter that. Okada would have seen that as disrespect because that was more of a respect match than anything.
I don't know. Daniel Bryan's retiring soon. Okada's still wrestling. Daniel Bryan does not need the win. Everybody knows he's one of the best in the world to ever do it.
Sean, thoughts, my man?
I'm gonna go back to what Scalz said, and before the counter. The audible. I'm gonna half agree and half disagree. I think they should have called an audible where he didn't tap Okada out, so he didn't have to use his forearm as much, and use the running knee, possibly, and then pin Okada. And that's where I say that they should have still had Daniel Bryan win, like Cam said, because he needed that big win. So for me, Daniel Bryan they should have called an audible where he didn't extend his forearm even more, injure it even more, and had him win with the running knee and have Okada lose by a pinfall. And that way it didn't look like Okada even came out weak on that kind of end as well, where he tapped out to Daniel Bryan, where it could have still made him look strong in that sense, by losing like clean by pinfall. But all in all, that was a great technical match between two of the greatest wrestlers to ever do it of all time. What Takan said, if you want to message me afterwards, I can give you my New Japan subscription, and you can watch more Okada matches. But I'll give that match a 4.9 out of 5 due to the fact that
go ahead.
Due to the fact that the way it did end, where they could have called the audible in the sense of protecting Daniel Bryan more.
I'm curious if that hurt his arm more than what it would have been.
That's my reasoning for that's what I was thinking.
You know what would have been a good finish for me, and this is for me, and y'all are gonna be like, it's played out. But that match, once the broken arm happened, the audible that should have been called is a time limit draw.
But they had it set up for 60 minutes, didn't they?
Yeah, and it went 32, I believe, or 26 or 32.
It went 27-40, and that was the second longest match on the card.
Right. Yeah, it was a 60 minute, but I would have done that.
If it was 30, I would agree with you. But I don't think they could go through another 33 minutes.
Limit, it should have been, once the injury happened, it should have been a draw like that, because then they had something to prove. Set it up for Forbidden Door 3 in Japan next year.
Fair.
Or Wrestle Kingdom, possibly.
Yeah, that would have worked too. So,
I mean, you might as well just have had it be a double count out or something like that. I wouldn't have wanted to go to a whole hour of them wrestling just to get a draw.
Right. No, I get that, but I'm saying, like, it would have been the more finish with the injury, and it would have made sense afterwards to everybody, I guess.
They could have done a ref. They could have just done a ref stoppage.
They could have. Now.
And declared no winner because Bryan's unable to compete because he broke his freaking arm.
Yeah. So now we get to the match with arguably two of the biggest wrestling gods on this planet. Professional wrestling at its finest happened at Forbidden Door between Mr. Kenny Omega and William Ospreay. I don't want to start this, so Sean, you start.
Oh boy, I'm gonna try to be as unbiased as possible because I'm gonna say I'm the biggest freaking Kenny Omega mark in the world, even more than AJ Styles. I I I love that man, not like in that way, but I love that man, Kenny Omega. Met him multiple times. That's how much I love Kenny Omega. Um, but just from an unbiased standpoint, and I know I know you hate this match. Before I go into the reason, I'm just gonna give the star rating because I can't wait. I'm gonna pull, a Dave Meltzer. I know you guys fuck that man, but I'm gonna give it a. Sorry, Shadow. I'm gonna give it a 7-star rating because
Well,
it
wasn't in the Tokyo Dome.
rating.
It wasn't in the Tokyo Dome.
I wasn't even in the Tokyo Dome, but still, that freaking match had me hooked. I was in a hotel room when I was standing up. Okay, that freaking match was bloody. It was violent. It was everything I wanted from Will and Kenny Omega and their series that they had, and just had that little snake Don Callis do what he did. I'm still pissed off about it, but I still don't. And there's a part where I don't understand where he gets ejected, then he can come back into the match and still somehow be there. But that's the only thing that pissed me off. But it added to the story. So for Will to win, kind of like, yeah, on the bias side pissed me off, but it also was like, oh shit, now we can get a rematch. Now we can get a possible rematch at All in London. And before I say anything, did that security guard look like Christopher Daniels to anybody else? Did that one security guard?
I didn't see him, to be fair. He was across the arena from me.
Oh, that's true. But my opinions, for me, it was a 7-star match. It was fucking brilliant.
Scalz.
So I'm gonna stop you right there with the match should happen in All In. It's too soon for that.
It's already been determined it's happening. So continue.
They said they announced that it's happening there.
So I guess I don't know if you guys have been paying attention the last couple of days to AEW news or not, but Kenny said something, Tony said something, and then Ospreay said, "If Tony wants it to happen, I know a place." And whose yard are they going into? But anyways, continue.
I thought that would be better served to set for Wrestle Kingdom next year. To have the third match
it could
set.
be. It doesn't mean anything until it
just
happens.
Because right now the series is 1-1. They've each won one of them.
It's technically 2-1, Will. But anyways, continue. Sorry, I don't want to let people forget about the 2015 match.
But that's not in this series right now.
I understand that, but I don't want to. Anyway, sorry, I don't. Keep going.
This match from start to finish, and I'm not the biggest Kenny Omega fan. This match changed my outlook on him because it wasn't his traditional type of match that he's been doing in AEW. This match was a freaking bloodbath between the two of these guys. I hate Don Callis. I think he's a waste of space. Does not need to be there.
Fuck you, Callis.
But to have Omega kick out of his own finisher at 1 made that crowd go nuts. And I said from the start that when Ospreay beats Omega, that it should be done with Omega's finisher, the Winged Angel. And at that moment, I thought it was going to be because he did his finisher beforehand, got it, and then it was a 1. I jumped out of my seat. Like, I was in shock. I'm not going to use the Meltzer scale here, but it was a 5-star match.
Before Cam goes, can I add just
No, you're a Meltzer suck up. Shut up. Go ahead.
What Scalz said about his Kenny Omega, how it like changed his mind a little bit or whatever. Like, because I want to say there's two different Kennys. You got the cleaner that night, the New Japan Kenny Omega that everybody was in love with, and then there's the AEW Kenny where it's kind of like he's more
Like
toned down.
like V trigger, like 24,000 times in a match.
Yeah, where he's more like, okay, this is AEW Kenny, where people think he's overrated, and I can understand why. But when he turns on the cleaner mode, you're in for a fucking good match because he loves, his New Japan style so much.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what I wanted to add to it.
Cameron.
So I've always been a pretty big Kenny Omega person. I've always liked his stuff. Again, sounding like a broken record here. Didn't see a whole lot of his New Japan stuff. If there was one person that I really kept up with from New Japan, it was definitely Kenny Omega. You hear so much about him. How could you not try to keep up with him? So seeing him in AEW as versus New Japan, I don't really know the comparison or whatever, or know what the real difference is or whatever. But I've always liked his stuff. He puts on great matches. I've never really seen a bad match from Kenny necessarily. But this match was on an entirely different level than I've ever seen out of Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. From what little I've seen from Will Ospreay, I know Will Ospreay is at the top of his game always, and this match was just insane. A bloodbath is basically the best way I can put it. It was a bloodbath. This was the most gory, most violent match I probably have seen in a long time. And I'm struggling to find words here because that match was just amazing. There was a spot where, Will Ospreay, I think he was going for his finishing move, but then he picked up Kenny and dropped him on his head. That made me jump.
Oh,
out.
the pile.
That was like,
the pile
oh, that's brutal.
The Tiger Driver 97 or 98.
The Tiger Driver, yeah.
Bro, I was like, that is brutal. Like that, it's just they did stuff I've never seen before. It's crazy. And again, to Scalz's point, when Will hit the one-winged angel and Kenny kicks out a one, I'm like, no way. Like I almost got up and ran around the house. Like I was just like, no way.
I was nervous at that moment.
That's insane. Like it was just wild. It brought me back to the days. I went live on TikTok for it or whatever, and I was showing my reactions to it or whatever.
I popped in and out of that live. You couldn't hear it.
Yeah, a couple times. And I even said it when I was live. I was like, man, this reminds me of Stone Cold and Rock days when they just kept kicking out just repeatedly over and over and over again. And you just their matches are just never going to end. So it was a battle like I've never seen before. So again, not using the Meltzer rating scale, I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5. Easily one of the best matches I've seen all year. I don't see what's topping that until the next Kenny and Ospreay match. So great match.
Guess that brings it to me. I'm using the shadow scale here.
Oh, great.
That was a 10 out of 10. All right. That will go down. And it's going to take a lot of events for me to go to see this. But that will go down as the greatest wrestling match I've ever seen live. Arguably, that'll be up there when this decade is over. That match should be on that ballot for match of the decade.
I'm so jealous of you.
AEW's best match ever. I don't care. That's their best match ever. Now, we want to talk spots in that match. What about the fucking DDT on the steel steps? Bro, I understand that they're protected, but that thud through the arena was absolutely disgusting. But I loved it. When Will Ospreay licked Kenny's blood off his biceps, and we all chanted, "You sick fuck."
Yeah.
It was great. Listen, I love my country. But watching Will Ospreay do that shit with the flag was such a throwback to Shawn Michaels. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, like I've said it. I've said it that it's probably match of the year. But sitting back on it a few more days now, I'm not willing to give it match of the year yet because we still have 5 months left of this year. We still have a lot of events coming up. So I'm putting it on the ballot right now as number one for the year. Now, when Kenny decided to kick out a one-winged angel at 1 and turn into the Street Fighter Kenny Omega, I was like, bro, everybody was on the edge of their seat when that screwdriver went right to the top of that man's head and he put his foot on the rope. Like, that arena, man, I don't think I've ever been a part of a crowd ever for anything. Like, I mean, anything, even hockey, that was that invested in what was happening. Like, man, I don't even know. Like, that, to me, that's the chef's kiss of professional wrestling. Now, we're going to say it might not be match of the year because, you know, WWE still has their events, AEW still has theirs, Impact theirs, blah, blah, blah. But that is arguably the match of the year for professional wrestling, not sports entertainment, professional wrestling. There's not going to anything close to topping that, in my opinion. So, Shadow scale, 10 out of 10. This scale, 5 out of 5. That was just, and I can confirm, because I seen Will Ospreay 35 minutes after the match, that he was fine. Like, him just walking out in the street like nothing happened. Also, no luggage, carrying that title into a cab to go back to his hotel.
Yeah,
like,
the picture
that was a
said,
badass
like,
move.
He's holding the belt like at his side, like, yep, I won this. I'm walking.
I want to know who the female was with him, because damn.
I did ask for a picture. He was polite and said, nah, mate. So, I get it, but fuck. So, let me ask you guys, because I asked you in the beginning, I'm going to ask you now. Forbidden Door as an overall, what's your ratings? Scalz, we'll start with you.
4 out of 5.
Cam?
5 out of 5.
Sean?
I'm going to agree with Scalz, 4 out of 5.
And I'm going to go 4.85 because the two matches that I didn't really care for.
So, I understand where Cam and Shadow are coming from, but there was just too much downside to all the other matches that I can't just possibly give it that high of a rating.
Hey, and that's your prerogative. You're wrong, but that's your choice.
No, I don't think I'm wrong on that one. Without those
Now,
without those 3 matches on the card, meaning the Bryan Danielson, Okada, Ospreay, and Omega, and the 5 versus 5 match, I don't think the card does as well as it does.
probably not. But Sean,
So,
go ahead. Go ahead, Kim.
to that point, I feel like I gave it a 5 out of 5. And I consider it the pay-per-view of the year because of the fact that my biggest gripe with the other company, WWE, is that, and I realize this probably after like Night of Champions, probably even before that, was the fact that like their pay-per-views, much like their programming, the regular programming, it's become too like formulaic. Like it's just like they're doing the same stuff over and over and over again. Like, oh, here's a roll-up victory, or oh, here's an interference, or like here's a squash match. Like they're not giving you a pay-per-view like they used to years ago. This pay-per-view to me was great because it was like, wow, like I felt like anything can happen. You know, I don't get that with a lot of what WWE does. So that's why I feel like this was a great professional wrestling pay-per-view.
And to Cam's point with WWE, I kind of agree. It's also becoming a power struggle between like Triple H and Vince McMahon. You know, one week you'll see Triple H booking the show and have completely different stories going on, and then the next week Vince will switch it up because he's booking. Oh, I don't like this or whatever, and it gets fucking confusing sometimes. Like
Hey,
just the constant switches, and
I
so
appreciate that, but this is AEW. Let's leave WWE alone in its burial ground on its own for now. But you, Mr. Sean, fuck you and your Meltzer shit. That man didn't even rank the Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay match a 5. He gave it a 4.75.
wow, that's surprising.
Like, he's an
Well,
idiot.
besides the
fucked
fact that he
Kenny
has
off
a
more
hard
than
on
I
for
do.
Kenny Omega. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a bigger mark than you are, and he still only gave it a 4.75. I think it's time for Meltzer to retire.
You know what's funny? Meltzer started like us, and yet now he's the biggest. It's stupid. But anyways, with that concludes our AEW Forbidden Door 2 review. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you didn't, suck some ass. I don't give a fuck. Scalz, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and TikTok at Scalz24, as well as on Off the Top everywhere you look. YouTube, Kick, Twitch, Twitter, TikTok. Just find us. You'll enjoy it.
Sean, where can we find you, sir?
Instagram, the Alpha Wolf Sean B 2.0, checkpoint verified. TikTok, the Alpha Wolf Sean B. Also on Twitch, the Alpha Wolf Sean B. And yeah, click my links and the rest shall be there.
Cameron, where can we find you in that sexy beard of yours?
You'll find me on TikTok at Cam's Wrestling Corner and at Call Me Cam G, my other TikTok page. And if that doesn't sizzle your bacon, you can find me on Instagram at 317 Bacon Eggs and Cam.
And for me, you can find Canada's Greatest Export live on TikToks every now and then at that guy's Shadow 91.3.0. You want to see some of my shitty ass content? It's that guy's Shadow 91. And if you find me on socials other than Twitter, bend over because I'm coming in dry and I don't give a fuck if you like it or not.
Jesus.
With that being said, I want to thank everybody coming out. Hope you have a great evening. Make sure to come by tomorrow night at 10 p.m. live on Twitch for us, as well as Rivet City Radio. We are bringing our Money in the Bank predictions to across all platforms. Come on by, check us out, and we'll see you there. Have a great evening.
Huh, Daddy Harder?